Hey, 8th grade, Miss Lawson here, and I'm super excited about today because today, in my mind, is the day you officially become a documentarian. And we'll jump into that in a second, but if you have not done your Good Morning, Hello, Scholars survey for the day, you need to pause right now and go do that, please. Okay, so, quick disclaimer, my husband is definitely playing Call of Duty Black Ops with his headphones on. He has no idea how loud he's being, and who knows what you'll hear. It'll be great. But anyway, yesterday I asked you guys to start completing your documentary blueprint by just building the foundation because we need that before we can move forward. So I asked you about title, theme, purpose, and mood, and then based on that, what are some things you think you want or need to include? And so I had these really great examples. So I really love the titles. This scholar's possible title was The Garfield to Your John, which really works because it's about pets. And his theme or central idea is really strong. My theme is you should spend time with those you love before they are gone. Loved that. Purpose, it's to convince people not to disregard their pets or family members. And then mood. Obviously, you guys, it's sort of about pets we've lost, right? So it's gloomy, sorrowful, and maybe some understanding. And then he said, I want or need to include my past pets, where they are currently. So he's going to like give an update, a place to film. He probably could have been more detailed about what that means. Chill music, sad music. He knows he wants to do time lapse. He knows he needs pictures of his pets. Explanations and descriptions equals he's probably going to be doing some narrating. And then videos of pets, and he might want to figure out some better lighting. I love this. I don't have a lot of feedback here. I think it's beautiful. I think he could have been a little more descriptive in terms of what he wants to include and been a little more specific. And then one more, y'all. Oh, this particular scholar is telling a story about her mom and her upbringing and how tough it was. And so this is such a good title, Light at the End of the Tunnel. I love when scholars don't just put like something basic like football if it's about football, right? Like they kind of tie their title to their theme. I think that's really awesome. So I love that. So this scholar had really strong themes and purposes. So her theme was your past doesn't define your future. And then her purpose was to show people that just because you have a bad background, you can still succeed. So I think her purpose has to do with what she put in her mood, which is encouraging others. So just wanted to show you guys those really strong examples from some of your classmates before we move into the second part of our blueprints. So remember, guys, documentarians create blueprints, and really what a blueprint is, we didn't talk yet about this yesterday, but it's really just an idea of what each scene will look and sound like. And when documentarians create blueprints, since they can't predict what someone is going to say in an interview or exactly what's going to happen, since it's based somewhat on reality and they don't script it, that means like this might not be what they plan, might not be exactly what you see on screen, but it's a good indicator. And so it might seem kind of vague at first. You'll see what I mean. So today we're going to begin filling in the frame and rooms of our house. So yesterday we were building the foundation and the outer walls when we were thinking about our mood, our central idea, our theme. We were just getting the basics down. Today we begin filling in the details, but we begin, guys. Your blueprint is a good amount of work and takes a lot of thought. So I wanted to give you until Monday, May 11th to submit that. And on Monday, May 11th, I will post to Google Classroom an assignment where you are able to upload your blueprint. Got it? So that's when we're turning in our blueprints. If you get done with it early, great. Just keep it saved in your drive, but we are not turning it in until Monday, May 11th. So you can start it today, but again, finish it by Monday, May 11th at 6 p.m. Okay, So we know that once we know a purpose, theme, and mood, then we have this big idea, right, in our mind. So now we can start filling in the details of what our film would look like. And we can plan based on what we hope each scene will look and sound like. And that's the process we call blueprinting. Now, this is how we do this. First, keeping our purpose, theme, and mood in mind, we think through each scene of our documentary. So the way I did this, guys, is as I was planning for my documentary about my paintings, I created a picture in my mind of what I wanted each scene to look and sound like. And then I sort of started thinking about the look and sound in 3 categories. So first I asked, who's talking during this scene? In other words, and sometimes it's no one. So who's talking or adding verbally to this scene? So I'm just thinking one scene at a time. Then I jot down under narration what I thought. Who's talking? And that's it. And you're going to see what each of these columns looks like in a moment. So then I thought, okay, in this same scene, as that person is talking, what is the viewer seeing? And then I jotted that under the visual column of my blueprint. Then I asked, what is the viewer hearing besides narration? And I jotted that for this scene under the sound column of the blueprint. So I want to show you what I mean because I know that's a lot. So here is, oh my gosh, it won't open. Here is mine. So here's the one I started yesterday. So it already has all of this filled in with what I showed you yesterday. My first step was to think through this scene by scene. So I knew that my first scene, I probably just wanted an opening with the title. And so I thought, okay, what does this look like in my mind? And so in my mind, I was like imagining one of my paintings on the screen, and then the title pops up, maybe like fades in or something with some kind of effect. And then I'm not talking, but the music starts playing immediately. So, and then I'm also like, okay, in my mind, what am I hearing? It's like a upbeat kind of chill music. It's not super sad. Okay, so based on that scene that I just visualized, I thought, who's narrating this scene? Who's speaking on screen or in a voiceover format? No one. I don't want anyone to start talking yet. What are people seeing? So it could be who's on screen, what's in the background, what's the setting, are people moving in a certain way? And I thought, okay, this is just the opening, y'all. So this would just be a still, like a picture of one of my paintings, and then the title comes up in text saying this, because this is my title. Boom. And then my sound, I thought, was going to be the upbeat music plays in the background. So my first step was who's talking? No one. So I wrote no narration. What are people seeing? My painting and the title. So I wrote that with some detail. Done. And then what are the other sounds besides narration that they're hearing in this scene? Music. And then I described the kind of music I want them to start hearing. Then I knew that the next, like, I was going to transition to a whole new like setting or location. So I decided I was going to go ahead and add a new scene. And every time I add a new scene, I just did insert row below and then started my new descriptions. Okay. Insert row to start your new scene. And so on my next scene, I'm going to talk you through 2 more of my scenes. On my next scene, sometimes I start with a vision and then I go from there. Sometimes I start with narration. It doesn't always happen in the same order. But what I was seeing was cutting to an interview-like scenario of me. So it was like just going to be me in front of the camera talking. And I knew that I wanted to talk about my first experiences with art, because that would help me kind of get to my purpose and theme. So I knew what I was going to see, and I knew I would be talking on screen, and I knew that I didn't want the music to be really loud in this scene as I was imagining it, because then you can't hear me talk. So then I went from there. Okay, I knew the narration was going to be me on screen. So I wrote me talking, and y'all, if it's someone else, you can write like my mom or my cousin, right? And then I described just generally what I was talking about. So like, you may not know what the person you're talking to is going to answer in your interview. You might say like, Mom, what was it like to come to the US when you were young? And so you would just write a general description here, like, I asked my mom what it was like for her to come to the US, and my mom answers this question. Boom. So I knew I was just going to be talking on screen, no one else. So I wrote me and then what I would be talking about. And I knew that visually that scene was just going to look like me on screen, seated in front of a green backdrop, speaking to the camera as if I'm talking to an interview, and that my lighting would be even and bright. I hope you noticed that I added a good amount of detail about what that setting looked like, even though it's just me in front of a camera. And then I wrote for sound. Remember, I knew I was going to be narrating, so I wanted the music volume to lower. I'm going to put same music from above continues, but music volume lowers. Okay. My next scene. I knew that I kind of wanted to transition into showing people my art and what I do. So I thought, ooh, maybe I could do like a close-up of my paintings or paint dripping, maybe like a shot of my workspace, paint spilling. So I had all these ideas of these visuals I could show. So I wrote them down, and I knew I didn't want to be talking over it. So I wrote no narration, and then on the music, since I wasn't talking, I knew my music volume could increase again. All right, I want to show you one more because this one's a little different. On my next scene, now I change again to starting to kind of narrate, so I figured this is sort of a new scene. So on this one, I wanted to be talking, but I didn't want to be on screen. When that happens, when someone is talking but they're not on screen talking to the camera, it's called a voiceover. So I wrote voiceover, me talking, and then I say, this is what I want to be talking about. But I need to say what's happening visually if I'm not on screen. So what's happening visually during my talking right here is the camera is going to be panning over a bunch of my paintings up close. And then the music volume is going to lower because I'm going to be talking, right? Whew, okay, it sounds like a lot, guys, but I just want you to go scene by scene, one scene at a time. Maybe you only plan one scene a day, because that's all you've got the capacity for right now, or you're still kind of in the planning stages, and that's okay, guys. But just remember, you're thinking about what's happening with these three elements: narration, the visual, and the sound for each scene. Okay, now what do I do, Miss Lawson? I think that that's a great question. Now what do you do? I'm going to recap this one more time. So you are going to go and open the copy of your documentary blueprint that you began yesterday. So you already created the copy. Please don't go in and start this fresh. You should have already done the top part of your documentary blueprint. But if you don't know what I'm talking about at all, it's probably because you need to go back and do Monday 5-4's lesson. Got it? So open the copy you made yesterday, and then you're going to begin that second bottom part of your blueprint. Remember that when you're adding a new scene, you can just right-click and add row for each new scene you want to begin. You have until Monday at 6 p.m. to complete this. Please don't get behind, guys, because next week is when we start doing our filming and editing. After this is due, you'll only have 2 more weeks, and I'm thinking 1 for filming and 1 for editing, and then you turn it in. So don't get behind on this. And then finally, y'all, this is not easy, and it's not easy during distance learning. I chose this project because I really believe that you guys can do it, but I also am kind of counting on you reaching out for help when you need it to be able to be successful. So please call me with questions. Seriously, I've had so many scholars who were anxious, and then they finally called me, or I called them, and then they were like, oh, I get it now, miss. Okay, cool. Like, I'm ready to go. I got it. And so please call me. Also, on Wednesday and possibly also Thursday, I'll be showing you how to edit. So if you're already ahead and you've been waiting for me to explain that, those lessons are on the way. And then finally, one more thing. You have this document that is attached to today's materials called Reading Documentary Project Materials. Don't do this part because you've already made a copy. So you're not clicking on this and doing that. You already have a copy made from yesterday. But I have my example here if you want to click and read and look at that and reference it again. I have the project rubric, which is going to help you know what you need to make sure is included as you're planning. And then I have a bunch of documentary examples. If any of these links don't work, guess what you can do? You can go to YouTube on your phone or wherever, and you can look up these titles in YouTube and watch them there. Or you can go to YouTube and look up short documentaries and watch to your heart's content. You'll see a lot of examples. Steal their ideas. That's totally okay here. Look at what they're doing and try to copy what you like from it, right? Okay, so I hope that is helpful for you guys, and I will hopefully hear from you if you have questions. Have an amazing Tuesday, guys. Bye.